with drug solutions. Do you remember that, like aspirin and acetaminophen and so forth? So we're starting to talk about proteins today, and where we're headed, we're going to do chromatography of amino acids. But last time, if you remember, you used those tiny little plates, the chromatography plates. So this time we're going to use paper, a piece of paper. So it's called paper chromatography. But it's the same principle. So the amino acids will get separated based on polarity. So depending on the solvent you use and how soluble they are, then the amino acids will be separated. So it's not going to look like anything today other than like wet when you spot it, but otherwise that's it. So a couple of things. Your hands, have protein in them, your skin. And so I need you to wear gloves because otherwise you'll smudge the paper. So gloves first. Make sure you have a piece of paper towel so that you keep your paper on a paper towel. And so the chromatography paper is like, which one is it? Well, let's go with this one. Okay, like with this one. So it'd be a rectangle. And so do you remember with the chromatography plates, you had to mark a line where you were going to spot like the aspirin and so forth? So same thing. Maybe a centimeter and a half from the bottom. Use a pencil so that it doesn't bleed when we put it into the solvent. So you're going to mark that. And I think this paper kind of curves inward, so I want you to spot them on the inside, because ultimately we're going to staple these together next week. Not today, but eventually we will. So spot them on the inside of the curve. And so you'll have something that looks like this. You'll mark your solvent, or where you're going to be spotting your amino acids. And then there's a list of the amino acids that you're spotting. Probably it's not so easy to see it from here. Let me show you where it is. Hold on. The list is, what's that list? Look at page 143. You probably remember the chart like this from that drug lab. You see, so alanine, aspartate, glycine, proline, valine, tyrosine. Does everyone see that? And then it does have a spot for 2 unknowns. We're just going to do 1 unknown. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a couple of things. I want you to label where you're going to spot the amino acids. You don't want to start at the edges. Okay, do not start at the edges. So maybe you start here, and if you just want to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's fine. Or if you want to say alanine, aspartate, wherever they are, but you want to make sure you label it so you know where you're spotting and make sure that there's a space between them. Okay, and so you'll have a little spot for all 7, and then at the very end will be your unknown. Does that make sense? Or 6, and then the last one is the unknown. Okay, just 1 unknown per person. Make sure the unknown you choose is not the same as the person next to you. Okay, so pick something different. And then what I want you to do, it's the same sort of thing, you'll use the little, looks like a capillary tube, like what we use for melting points. And so you'll press it to the paper and you'll see a little spot. And so I don't want you to get something like this really giant spot, which bleeds over with the next spot. But then again, I don't want you to do something like touch. Do you know what I mean? That's not enough either. So you need a good sized spot, but not too big. Okay, and I actually want you to spot them once and then spot them a second time. Okay, so we can be sure that you get a lot of the amino acid on there. And so there's a set here of the 6, and the unknowns are here. And then on this side are 2 sets of the known solutions. There's only 1 set of unknowns, so you'll have to come over to this side anyway to get the unknowns, but there's 2 sets of known solutions. Does that make sense? And then when you're done with it, I want you to put it between 2 layers of paper towels and put it somewhere safe in your locker. Okay, so in a place that stuff isn't going to spill on it. And that is basically it. Then while you're waiting, because it might get crowded over here, I want you to practice labeling. Well, what does that look like to you? Any guesses? Great, and so I want you to label that. You can label that with a neighbor if you want, and then I'm going to come around and kind of check on you, okay? And then once we're all done with labeling and spotting, then we'll take our quiz. Okay, and then after that, remember we're using that extra time to hopefully work on that research project, because you're going to turn that rough draft in a week from today, okay? And actually, it's not even too soon. If you have already got that rough draft done, then take it to the writing center. Do you know what I mean? Like, the sooner you go to the writing center, the less crowded they're gonna be. So, like, don't waste any time. It doesn't have to be right before you turn the summer in. Like, go there sooner rather than later. Okay, so you'll need goggles, you'll need your lab coats, you'll need gloves, and the paper is on the cart, and that is basically it. Grab a cell membrane picture and start